Trump's gas tax idea sounds simple. Take a few cents off every gallon while prices are painful. But today, the bigger story is not the tax. It is why gasoline is suddenly political again, why oil traders are watching the Strait of Hormuz, and why a small discount at the pump may not solve the part people actually feel. Here's what changed. On May 11th, AP reported that oil prices rose again as the Iran war dragged on and the Strait of Hormuz remained closed. That matters because the strait is one of the world's most important energy choke points. When that route is disrupted, traders do not wait for your local gas station to run dry. They price and risk immediately. At the same time, AAA listed the U.S. national average for regular gasoline at $4.52 a gallon on May 11th. That is not just a number on a pump. It is a commute, a delivery route, a school bus budget, a trucking invoice, a family trip, and a grocery price that may move later because fuel is built into almost everything. Then Trump put a political answer on the table. AP and Axios both reported that President Trump backed suspending the federal gasoline tax. The federal tax is 18.4 cents per gallon on gasoline and 24.4 cents on diesel. But there is a catch. The president cannot suspend it alone. Congress would have to act. That is the first tension in today's story. The headline is relief. The machinery is legislation. The second tension is size. 18.4 cents sounds noticeable, especially when every gallon hurts. But if gasoline is around $4.52 a gallon, the federal gas tax is only a small slice of the total price. AP estimated that the average driver would save about $2.48 per week from a federal gas tax pause. That is not nothing. For some households, every dollar matters. But it is also not the same thing as reversing an oil shock. The reason is that pump prices are built from layers. Crude oil is the largest moving layer. Then refining, distribution, retail margins, federal taxes, and state taxes all sit on top. A tax holiday can cut one layer. It cannot reopen a choke point, end a war, expand refining capacity overnight, or stop traders from pricing risk into crude. This is why ordinary people should care about the Strait of Hormuz even if they have never looked at it on a map. It is not just a foreign policy phrase. It is a narrow route where energy risk can travel from ships to markets to the pump near your house. And that is where the political fight gets sharper. If Congress suspends the gas tax, drivers may get a visible discount. Politicians get a clear talking point. But the federal fuel tax also helps fund highways, bridges, and transit through the transportation system. So the real question is not only, should drivers get relief? It is also, who pays for the road work if that revenue disappears, and for how long? There is another practical problem. Tax cuts do not always pass through perfectly to consumers. If the market is tight, some of the benefit can be absorbed before it reaches the pump. If the pause is temporary, companies and customers may change behavior around the deadline. And if crude keeps rising, the tax cut can be swallowed by the next price jump. That is why today's story is bigger than one Trump interview. It shows how quickly energy politics can move from overseas conflict to ordinary household math. A tanker route changes. Crude jumps. Gas signs move. Delivery costs rise. Businesses adjust. Families cut somewhere else. Then Washington looks for a tool that people can see immediately. Sometimes that tool helps. Sometimes it mostly signals that leaders understand the pain. The difference depends on scale. For a commuter, the question is simple. Will this lower my bill enough to notice? For a trucking company, the question is whether diesel relief offsets the route costs. For a city government, it is whether buses, ambulances, road crews, and school transportation become more expensive. For taxpayers, it is whether temporary relief creates another funding hole somewhere else. The bigger unresolved question is what happens next. If there is a ceasefire or the strait reopens, oil prices could cool quickly. If the disruption continues, a gas tax pause may become politically attractive but economically limited. If Congress delays, the idea may stay a headline while drivers keep paying the current price. And if lawmakers do act, the details matter. How long it lasts, whether diesel is included, whether states copy it, and whether infrastructure funding is replaced. So here is the clean takeaway. Trump's gas tax pause is not the whole story. It is a pressure valve. The real story is that energy security, foreign policy, household budgets, and infrastructure funding have collided in 1 week. Watch 3 things now: the Strait of Hormuz, the AAA national average, and whether Congress turns Trump's idea into an actual bill. If those 3 move in different directions, the politics will get louder. Subscribe for clear daily explainers without hype. And comment the specific topic you want covered next: the oil shock, Trump's gas tax plan, Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, or the next AI and technology story people are talking about.